Literally.
And this episode, the shit we're
Finger
doing,
tickle.
we're covering The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, episode 6, The Last Time.
It does feel like the last time. This is our last episode, by the way, everybody.
Yeah, we're done.
We're done. It really felt like an ending. I wanted to mention before we get started that if you guys listening just found us recently for this show, or you haven't been around in a while because you weren't watching the spinoffs and you came back for Rick, we're so glad you came back and listened. And if you had a good time, we hope you check out some of the other stuff we've been doing recently. If you look back in your feed, you'll see we started a Walking Dead rewatch with full spoilers. So it's like a retrospective looking back from the perspective of having seen the whole series. And it's been really, really fun. And
It's
great.
so fun. It's so fun.
And we made it up to where Sophia came out of the barn, and then we paused for The Ones Who Live. So we're going to be continuing, I think, either later this month or early May, depending on how our schedules are, but soon.
Yeah.
And we also on this podcast covered the other spinoffs, The Walking Dead Dead City with Negan and Maggie, and also Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, which is Daryl en France. And and we Lucy and I decided to bow out of Dead City. I think you for the same reason as me. Basically, I didn't want to subject everyone to my constant complaints about Negan. I just thought that wouldn't be fun for people. I know you did do one episode, right? Episode 2.
I did, and Ben did an amazing job. He was exactly the right person to lead on that show. So I think we did. I think we were both at that point as well. We were quite burnt out from. I think we just done The Last of Us as well, and I was just like, I'm not in the right headspace to talk about Negan.
And watching the series, I thought that was the right decision because Ben's more of a Negan fan, and I'm a fan of some stuff, but as you guys know, not everything. So anyway, we wanted to have it on the podcast. I'm thankful that Ben came in and covered for us, and he had a rotating guest host, and that was great. And then Lucy and I came back and did the Daryl show, which we liked a lot. We thought it was surprisingly great.
Yeah, which we both were like, we'll cover it. And then we're like, oh, this is fun. And then, got jazzed. It was good.
Yeah, it's like Daryl in France, what the hell? But if you're, I know some listeners are like, I like Daryl, but not enough to actually watch the series. Give it a shot. Watch the first episode. I think you would know after that one whether you want to continue on.
It'll also make you feel like arty. You're like, oh, well, it's zombies, but it is in Paris. So it's like dead arty.
Yes. It's got a lot of Rita-ciness in it. You can tell he had a lot of input because he's an artist. But I would put it solidly third in my rankings of the, I think, 7 Walking Dead spinoffs right after the main show and The Ones Who Live.
Main show, Ones Who Live, yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I do want to rewatch World Beyond, having watched this. Like, I would say that's still up there for me. I liked it a lot.
Me too. Yeah. But I like Tales too, probably more than most people.
Yeah, Tales was fun. There was one episode of Tales that like everyone fucking hated, and we were like, "This is great. This is so good." It was like the French Amish one. We were like, "This is hilarious," and everyone's like, "No, it's terrible." Like, oh.
But I think there's another spinoff. I can't remember what it was.
No, I mean neither. But never covered it.
Anyway, Daryl will be back this summer, they say, so we'll interrupt the rewatch once again for that. So just wanted to give you guys a rundown of what we've been covering. If you have been enjoying it, maybe you'll stick around and for some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But that said, let's get into The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. I call it episode 6. I didn't put season because I feel like this might be it.
I'm just going to say it. I don't want another season.
Yeah.
If it comes, I'll cover it, but I don't want it.
Well, we don't. So we've been saving the news for the listener feedback episode, and we'll do that again this time. But I read, interviews about whether there's a season 2, and the gist I get is that Gimple really wants to do it, and I feel like probably the holdup is Andrew Lincoln and Denai Guerrero, who both said if there's a great story, then you never know. So I feel like, to me, this was such a great story. You wouldn't want to follow it up with something mediocre.
I could live with like there's been mooted in the discourse like an Avengers style thing where all the spin-offs come back together. I would love to have that itch scratched, but I do not want this to be broken up again. And that's I didn't think I would say this, but I really don't want a season 2. I just don't. I just think it was just a nice beat to end on.
Yeah, because you're right, because it's about them getting back home, and so you want to see them with the other people, not away again because of something bad that happened.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I would watch a season of The Ones Who Live that's just like domestic Grimes family bliss. Like, I would watch the shit out of that, but I don't think AMC would commission it, and I think they'd want to fuck with us, and
There's
I don't
a
want
rat,
that,
and
so.
they need to get Carol. How did you handle that other rat?
Like Judas, like a grumpy teenager or something, you know? Yeah, cool. I like it.
What if it was The Ones Who Live starring Gabriel and Aaron? Would you watch a season of that?
If it became, you know, do you mean like if it was sort of like what they've done with Daryl, having it be the Book of Carol and having it be like The Ones Who Live this season featuring the two of them? Yeah, I think so. I know Chris and Jason over at Talking Deadcast are really into that idea of Gabriel and Aaron, because they had an outstanding two-hander with the Terminator before season 11.
Oh, so. Nice. What if it was The Ones Who Live starring Chris and Jason of the Talking Dead?
I would love that.
I'd be so
I would
down
watch
for that.
the shit out of that. And I tell you what, The Ones Who Live, Lance Hornsby, I mean, I'd showrun it.
He's dead.
I would showrun it. No, fuck off. No, like backstory, whatever, resurrection, cool fashion show. I don't know. Yeah, he had a twin. Schmance Schmornsby. Vance Hornsby.
Vance, yeah. Lance and Vance. All right, what did you think of this one?
Oh, do you know?
Lance rhymes with romance, by the way. I don't know if you
the Lance romance. What I've been thinking about since I watched this, so I was so stressed out about this. I woke up at like 6, and the clocks went forward. So I woke up at like 7 a.m. on Sunday. We were like staying with Peter's parents, and I was like, I have to watch this fucking episode before I get spoiled.
Yeah,
I'm really glad I did, because the headlines were so fucking spoilery on Monday.
Yeah. I didn't go.
And I was so stressed.
The internet.
So I had a nightmare about it. I had a nightmare about this fucking show that involved like purple flames, and like I was so stressed out. So I went into it really up to a high dough about the whole thing. There are two zombies inside of me. There is a zombie that wants to nitpick, and there is a zombie that just without shame loved this episode and cried for like half an hour after watching it. And they say that the zombie that lives is the one that you feed. So I'm going to feed the emotional zombie who loved it.
The brains to the zombie.
There were bits where I'm like, yeah, fuck me, that went quickly, and like, wow, the echelon briefing was quite shit. Like, there were bits where
I was like, if you
watched
The World Beyond, if you hadn't,
if you watched The World Beyond, you're just like,
yeah,
that was okay. Next, I read a really funny review that said, BL says, I've given this echelon briefing 2,273 times. And they're like, okay, 1, that's a fuck ton of people to know, like, the top secret. 2, if that's true, he's given that briefing once a day for 7 years. Just really made me laugh. Funny.
He's like, here we go again. All right, let me tell you.
Get the tea, get the sword out. And I just thought that really made me laugh.
He has it on CD that he just gives to most people.
It's like, couldn't it just be a PowerPoint? Like, stick people like with an explosion, like them dead, us alive. Well done.
It makes sense that he's given it, or that many people know it, because everyone who's carrying out these orders, I think, knows it. So you need
and probably dies doing them.
Maybe, but I mean, I think the whole group that was there in the phalanx, that because it kind of had to be that way, that Michonne and Rick just killed a couple thousand people, so they had to be kind of complicit in some way,
Yeah, they had to. But overall, honestly, that ending, I loved it. I loved it. It gave me everything I was hoping for, and I couldn't believe it did. I was so shocked that it actually did. And that made me really happy. How about you? How do you feel? I know we exchanged a text where we were both just like, oh, I'm still crying. But
well, I watched it in my VR headset the first time, and I was afraid I was going to damage it with my tears.
Oh,
seriously.
Did you run up and give Rick a hug in VR? Were you like, I'm in the family too? Jenny's like, what are you doing? And you're like, nothing. Just
no, I'm watching my family. I loved it so much. I there were definitely some Department of Suspensions of Disbelief on a big scale in it, but I was so satisfied with it that it was almost joyous. Like, ha, that's so funny. It wasn't even like, this is lame. I don't, this is taking me out of it. It was like, okay, good. I'm glad they just skated over that so we could get to this ending that we got.
right? I was like, because
Which,
when it got to like 7 minutes to go and like everything had been resolved, I was like,
yeah.
oh my
And
God, we're going back. And I
I
just got so
know,
excited.
right?
I was
And
like, oh,
I know I heard, see, I haven't listened to Watching Dead, the Bald Move guys, in a while,
mm,
but somebody told me that they started off kind of liking it, but they've just been raking this series over the coals, right?
mhm.
And that's what they tend to do with The Walking Dead, and I love them for it. And I know that some people who listen to Watching Dead, this is back in the day, they would just think well, it was me and Karen at the time, but like, you guys are idiots. Like, God, you just love everything and you don't care and all this. And I'm like, hey, we're two different flavors.
Yeah,
Like, I'm here to
feed,
appreciate and to, enhance your
yeah.
experience of it, not pick it apart. But I mean, those guys are really fun to listen to. But anyway, I think it's
Like
funny.
feed the Zed that gives your
Yeah,
life meaning.
that's
And if
right.
that is joy, then take it. And this was just pure joy.
Theirs that is snarky and they give it lots of brains, and
Yeah,
that's fun.
that's fine. Whereas I want to feed my non-cynical Zed who just sat on the bed crying Judith got her family back for half an hour and then had to go for Easter lunch with my in-laws. So like it's fine.
It's fine.
Like,
They
it's cool.
it's far it did feel rushed.
Hmm.
Um I guess. I mean, it's fast paced for sure. I did not
Yeah.
expect them to find out what the CRM was up to and put a stop to it all in one episode. That really surprised
Yeah.
me. But on the other hand, I think the whole series has been fast paced, except for maybe
Hmm.
episode 4, the one, that Denai Guerrero wrote.
Mm.
And so it fit in with that. It's been fast paced the whole way through. A couple of years went by in the very first episode, then a year went by in the Michonne Nat episode. You're right.
Yeah.
It's been quick.
Absolutely.
I think it would have been good to get more about the people in the Civic Republic who were actually impacted by this. We didn't really see the impact of the
I mean,
CRM on them at any time, and the aftermath was all handled in voiceover. It was very satisfying voiceover, but we didn't get to see any of it. I feel like the series could have been 10 episodes, and that would have probably been best.
I would watch the ones who live Ben Shiro and Esteban take the city. That would make me really happy. I'd want to see
They
that.
could have just
Yeah.
included a little and did a few more episodes. Not another season, but
I think yeah, if so my first point was feeding the bad Zed. I put
yeah,
my
okay.
points that I am a bit like about. One is that Jadis had time to make her room an art studio. She was like, I wish I died an artist. I don't do art anymore. And then they opened the door and I'm like, huh? It's like art school in here. I was like, what the fuck?
I did like though that she had that side of herself still. That
Yeah, and the pictures were cool, like the
yeah,
Gabriel
I
and the
thought it
General
was.
Beale, and there were some like anguished faces, and I'm like, are these the people she's killed? Like, I'd like to go back and zoom in to see if I could spot other faces, but it just made me laugh. That it's like it's
It
a
was a
brand new
lot.
facility, and she's like, I took all my art with me. I'm like, all
That's
right,
right, huh? It's not even her main
yeah.
place. She really
She's
brought
like, oh, I'm
everything.
just going to visit, and she's like, I live here now, and I'm like, you did a lot of art in like what 2 days? Like, anyway,
She brought it, but
so.
I love that the dossier was up the cat's butt. That was awesome.
And that is a callback, which I loved because Rick brought a cat that looked exactly like that back from the junkyard for Michonne to make up for the cat statue she lost at the prison.
Mm,
So Jadis, if she knew, was very petty about that, which I thought was quite funny.
that I didn't realize that. So Jadis had made the one in the junkyard too, probably as
I
an
think
artist.
so, yeah,
Maybe, yeah.
yeah. I listened to the listener feedback episode. I was really
Oh, cool.
delighted with it. And Veronica made a really good point that Jadis, if she had just died randomly on duty, everyone would have found out about Alexandria. So I was thinking about that when I was doing my rewatch. I was like, yeah, pretty
Yeah.
fucking
Oh,
stupid
yeah.
thing to do, really, wasn't it?
No, yeah, I'd been thinking about like it's important that Jadis stay alive.
Mm. On my bad said list, I also have there was a bit of Gimple speak in this, particularly with Rick and Beale, that I was a bit like, okay, like I was just like, we could do this with a bit less Gimple speak, but fine, whatever. It happened. It has not been an overly Gimple season, so it passes.
I think it's been Gimli in the best way because I always want to stand up for him, and I think he's got a lot of strengths, and they were all on display in this. And he made a
Yeah,
great team with Denai Greer in
I
particular, and
think
probably
having
Andrew
the
Lincoln as well.
two of them to rein him in was good. I think they
Yeah.
balanced it rather
And
than
I think
rein in,
that's
like
always the
balance. I think
case. Yeah,
that's
yeah. You need, I
yeah.
mean, look at the Beatles, they were better together.
Mhm. Um, how quickly it all resolved, I'm just going to find funny because it was just funny that everything was resolved in one episode. I'm just like, that's inherently hilarious. Like
Mm-hmm.
they've built up this big bad so
Over
much, and then they're like,
years.
nah,
And like
nah.
characters from other, like Isabel from Fear, it's like, well, she escaped them, but
Yeah,
the whole
it's
World
wild.
Beyond, and yeah, it's like
Well, this is the
over.
thing that
Rick
the
Grimes came,
next
it's over.
right. This is the thing that I spoke a bit with Jenny Ryan about this. Like, the world beyond was kind of pointless. It's like what? I mean, yeah, I'm not going to say too much if you've not seen World Beyond, but I'm a bit like, oh,
It was
like,
intended to come after the first Rick Grimes movie that never was made. And
right.
so I don't know if seeing it in that light makes more sense, but I guess
Yeah.
we would have to know what that. I also read that the first movie wasn't even going to have Michonne in it, except maybe at the end. So it was different.
I hope the World Beyond crew are doing okay. I
Yeah.
assume I wondered if we would get a Kublek cameo with the
Well,
High Hegians all being there, but no.
The main reason why I hadn't been spoiling World Beyond points was because I didn't want to give away what did end up being a plot twist in this season,
Yeah.
which is that the CRM were the ones that killed Omaha. That was the echelon briefing.
Yeah.
I mean, people probably suspected, but I just didn't want to lay it out there. But now that it's over, I don't mind saying some points from World Beyond, one of which is that at the end, some of the characters were on their way to Portland to warn them because we knew that the CRM was going for Portland next. And now we don't know what happened to those characters, Elton, Asha, and Iris, I think.
Yeah. And
I guess they're fine because nothing
Silas.
happened. But did they ever make it there? Were they just like coming up to
I kind
warn
of want to
them?
know. I would watch a little spin-off episode about this.
Yeah, webisode, come on.
Speaking of the echelon briefing, I just feel like it was bigged up a lot and it just wasn't that great. Like, it was fine. And I loved, you know what, Terry O'Quinn brought it. I liked the scene well enough. But I just felt like the briefing itself was a bit like, and?
I don't agree. I think
Really?
I mean, hey, we don't have to agree as always, but I just think because we watched World Beyond, it had way less impact. But if you learned from this that the CRM is going to kill everyone else in the world, that's basically what it was. That's a big deal.
I'm interested to see what listener feedback says about this because surely we'll have people who didn't know. But I just felt a bit like, I think, I don't remember if it was Veronica or Dodie that said the biggest twist would be if there was something in the briefing that made us think, oh shit, there's a point there.
Yeah.
But I don't think the closest I came was when Beale said to Rick, I can protect the people you love and bring them here. And I thought, oh, that could, because we know what his really biggest fear is. But that wasn't the briefing.
But no, I mean, I think it's pretty compelling, especially given that, I mean, we learned in the echelon briefing, but also in World Beyond, that the CRM has these modelers that they're like statisticians or something that predict what's going to happen based on whatever factors. And they've said that humanity has 14 years to live. And so this is our motivation to try to beat the odds. And the way that we're going to do that is to kill everyone else because they could be a threat. And we're just going to keep this community of compliant people that we've specifically gathered together, all bees. And then we're going to be the military that protects them and kills everyone else. I mean, to me, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know. I found it underwhelming. If I'd been one of the like the 2,274th person to get it, I think my reaction might have been a bit less than whelmed. I don't know. I just felt it was.
Is that it?
Yeah, I was just like, is that it? Like, I feel like if you're that far into the organization and you don't have a suspicion that that's the kind of thing they're doing, then I don't know. Which leads me to Rick and Michonne should have died a bunch in this episode. Like, they should have died at least 3 different points in this episode. And going in, I was so sure one of them was going to die that I was absolutely like in knots about it. The blanket and water thing was tenuous. Rick exploding the Zeds with a fucking hand grenade 2 feet away from him and not getting bit was also tenuous. But I don't fucking care because I'm so happy that they both lived. But if we were going to pick holes in it, you could say there was like a million points where they could have and probably should have died in this episode.
Randy made a good point in the chat. Well, maybe it's a good point that in most movies, you see people dive on grenades and then they're able to save anyone else from getting hurt. Just one body in the
Mhm.
way. And here Rick had, I think, 3 zombies in the way. So maybe you could
True.
say that.
True. I was
don't know.
also very worried that Rick was going to reveal he'd been bitten when they got on top of the shipping
Crate
container.
thingy, container. Yeah, yeah. I was so
That
worried
didn't happen.
throughout the whole
I know.
episode.
I have never been so stressed in my fucking life as I was watching this.
Which was one of the reasons why it was such a great episode, because throughout The Walking Dead, we were never worried about Rick's survival until his final episode, because it was broadcast that Andrew Lincoln was leaving. But aside from that, we just weren't. And now we were so worried, and I could feel it just chatting with people online. And it was a collective Walking Dead family anxiety. And then to have us throughout the whole episode, they just ramped that up. You know, in the whole echelon briefing, it's very tense, and he keeps grabbing at his knife, and you're wondering what's going to happen. And then he fucking grabs his knife and kills him, which I totally didn't expect. And then they fight, and I'm like, oh shit. And then, I mean, even in the first place, like that they're going to go in there and try to get this dossier and the echelon briefing. It's dangerous. They're going into the belly of the beast. So it's high risk. Then it ramps up, of course, as we knew it would. And they find out that they're going to attack Portland. So they decide to put a stop to it. And just every little moment, the fact that they had these flashbacks, that made me feel like,
I was like, we're dead.
This is your life.
We're all dead.
Like, yeah, they're showing this.
We're all
end.
dead.
When Rick wanted to go, like, why don't we just go home?
And Michonne wanted to stay. Yeah. I was like, fuck.
And just the fact that they were having this conversation made it feel like, oh, they might regret this or something, right? So they knew that we were thinking it, and they kept seeding us. And then they even like had all these moments that you just mentioned that were ridiculous. Like it looked like Rick blew up, and then he's fine. And then even they had to add the thing about them getting up on the shipping container. So all of that anxiety just built and built and built, and then to have this payoff where they actually did make it. It made it so much sweeter than it would have already been great, but it was even better because of all that. I feel like
everything you've ever wanted for these characters is going to happen. I was like, and I did the other 2 things on my list of bad Zed were Thorne's change of heart. Like,
I know,
it's right. Bill was right. There is hope. I'm like, well,
what the hell changed your mind?
I really hope that in my last moments on Earth, I don't like go back on everything I believed for my whole life. Like, it is right. It is this, and then conk it. I'd rather just go out being like, yeah, most of my beliefs were pretty much held up by what I experienced. You know?
Yeah. When before you die, you'll be like, it's true. Men should run the world.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my god, feminism was a joke. I'm like, conk out, like I should have just done this instead, but no.
I mean, I guess it was because Michonne said love doesn't die right before she killed her. I don't know.
And then she goes, watch, and I wrote LOL, bye bitch. At that point, I was like, no. But everything, and I think the last one that really did make me laugh, but I kind of loved, was everything that happened off screen with the briefing of like frontliner force and command and all casualties of incident, shocking revelations, emergency oversight, infantry units, immediate reform, overturning guidance, free movement, city will welcome citizens, airlift survives our community. And I'm like, so that all happened in what, 45 seconds? I'm like, great. Guess we're not watching any of that.
Yeah. I mean, there's a part of me that's like, maybe, I mean, that would have just drawn things out, and I don't know.
I mean, government reform is inherently quite boring. Yeah. So like, yeah, I'm with you on that.
I mean, I would have liked to just see just some signs of real world impact of it. But I actually liked the voiceover debriefing at the end.
This is the thing. I liked it and also found it frustrating at the same time, but mainly loved it. But it's when I feed the little analytical Zed, it goes, that was kind of like too convenient, right? And I'm like, no, it was great. It was great because I knew some more of Judith.
It felt like the end of a lot of movies.
Yeah. And I think that's the end of my bad Zed list. That was my first point, was just the nitpicks.
Okay, I'll tell you my bad Zed list, which is a lot the same, and then I'll do another point, if that's all right. So, again, huge department of suspension of disbelief, but the episode was so satisfying in all other ways that I didn't really care. I almost felt joyful about these, but that Beale happens to spend alone time before each battle, completely unguarded, never interrupts that time, except this one exception. He'll take this guy who's the first A he's ever given the echelon briefing to, and he's not been quite sure where he's coming from and has tried to escape 4 times, but I'll bring him in.
And who's obviously like quite unhinged, like, let's face it, like quite unhinged.
Like that seems like a good idea. Oh, damn you, Okafor. Why did I follow your advice on that one?
That line, I laughed out loud. Damn you,
so
Okafor. I was
stabbed.
Like, great. 10
I
out
knew
of 10.
I shouldn't have listened to you. Oh, died.
Okafor smiles down from heaven like, oh.
I mean, I genuinely feel like that was the best writing of the whole episode for that line.
Damn you, Okafor.
That was so good.
So good.
Michonne stumbles into this briefing about what's happening in Portland. I guess Cascadia base is mostly is everyone who's had the echelon briefing, but still, it's kind of like Squid Game, if you've seen that, or even Star Wars in the Death Star, where all the bad guys are wearing masks. You know, it's a stormtrooper, so it's easy to infiltrate and go unnoticed. It was like that.
Also, who stitched her uniform? Like, I noticed this in the kind of bits we see of them having actually planned stuff. I'm like, so they stitched the uniform together. That's really funny because there's like a little sewing kit out, and I'm like, well, I'm assuming Michonne did that because I don't think Rick could do it with one hand. But anyway, that really made me laugh.
Oh, what do you mean stitched it? Like
they stitched the red bits on. So there must have been a regular stormtrooper uniform there, and then they had to stitch the red piping on to make it look like she was meant
official.
To be there. But yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, they show the like really scenic like sex scene, but they don't show the like presumable hours of sewing. Like, anyway, it made me laugh.
This is more of a general one. If the CRM planned to kill all the people, all the communities they came across, why did they design their logo around the concept of 3 communities? I've already said maybe it was plausible deniability.
Plausible deniability. I think they just had one really good designer who was like, I don't think you should do this. I don't think you should, kill. And they're like, no, don't care. Then he got killed, and now they're stuck with all the logos. So.
Yeah. Oh well, we'll think of some other thing that represents. I think it was lucky no one was guarding this huge cache of chlorine gas canisters, so Rick and Michonne could just go in and rig it, and also that the troops were all gathered in one place.
Oh, chill. Like, that's how I keep my gas canisters. I'm just like, just unguarded, like, whatever.
And while we're talking about the gas canisters, I'm pretty sure we saw those in World Beyond getting ready to be shipped out to Portland. Like,
but didn't they cut this? Didn't they thwart it?
Oh, well, there must have been other ones.
Oh, man.
That, this is just a small one, but how come Rick left his prosthesis? Why didn't he?
I think he was like, I don't need anything you gave me anymore. And I'm like, yeah, but also it's got a blade in it. It's uniform. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That seemed weird. That when Thorne confronted Rick and Michonne, and she goes, you go back and undo what you did. I mean, no, follow them, find out what they did. That's kind of silly.
Thorne's like, I'm phoning it in. I don't want to find out.
I don't even want to deal with
it.
you guys.
I don't even want to deal with you anymore.
There's an explosion, that lets out all the chlorine gas, and then cut to commercial, and all of a sudden, all the soldiers are zombies shambling around.
Except for Thorne.
Yeah, except
and Rick and
Michonne, because they were under tarp.
If only they'd known.
And it made a little tiny bit more sense with Rick and Michonne, but not much. But Thorne, why did she survive being out in the open? Because she quickly put her mask on, but no one else did. Why didn't anyone else? Okay, whatever.
Rick's like, she's got a mask. I'm like, but what the? Oh.
That was the most ridiculous thing in the whole episode to me.
That was really dumb.
And then her sudden change of heart, and then Judith and RJ meet them in a field with no supervision. I guess Judith can handle it, but why not go to Alexandria? Who brought them to this field? Of course, it's because in Alexandria, which is actually Sonoy, they now regularly, the inhabitants of Sonoy, it's a real town, they sit out on their porches with shotguns in case any camera crews show up. Never again, I've heard. No, I'm just kidding.
They're real porch dicks in Sinai. I was a bit like, you could have had like a sneaky Ezekiel or Carol there, like, oh,
it might have
anyway.
lessened the emotional impact, but it just felt weird, like a field and two little kids running out of the forest. Fine.
Oh.
So those are mine. But can I do another fresh point?
Absolutely.
Okay. It's the others, feeding the others Ed in my head. The main overarching theme of The Walking Dead, or at least one of the main ones, I felt like this series felt like an end to The Walking Dead in a way that the Walking Dead finale itself didn't, in some way, because it's Rick. It made me feel sad because when series that I love end, I feel like I broke up with somebody, and I didn't quite have that feeling with The Walking Dead. And I think it was in part because I knew that there was more coming with Rick, and now we may never see him again. You know, it's sad.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I really do. Yeah.
I felt it was a good ending though. So I want that. I'd rather have that than not.
This is what I wanted at the end of the main show, was this scene. But I actually really liked what we got at the end of the main show with Daryl, and I thought they did it really well. And I can understand why Andrew Lincoln was like, we can't have me come back in at the end and kind of
No, I'm glad they
didn't.
Else. They should have just left him out completely, but
yeah. But I had the same kind of completion feeling of like, oh, this is really it now, because they're home, and that's that, and we will never maybe see that again. And I think it's also because there's part of me that wants it to be that way, because I don't want this to get fucked up for them. Like, I want that to be their happiness.
Right. It's almost, I mean, there's a part of me as a podcaster like, oh, I hope other people don't feel that way and decide they're done with The Walking Dead, because we still have Daryl and Negan left. But there's a part of me that also wishes we didn't have that, because I want a good ending, and this was one. You know,
maybe Daryl will end with him coming back and getting his reunion with Rick, and then
I really hope so,
because they deserve a reunion. They absolutely they really do. And
even though one listener thinks that that's a slight to Michonne, but I
it is. Well, it is this. Like, you can love different people for different reasons.
No, I want them all to be reunited. It doesn't take anything away from Michonne at all. It's not a slight. But anyway, so another way that it feels like an ending is thematically, because one of the main themes of The Walking Dead has always been how far would you go to protect the people you care about, and can you come back from those dark things? And I think this series focuses on, quote, dark things, meaning being calloused over to the point where you don't care about anyone, or it doesn't have to be about callous, but giving up on people, like the whole thing with Michonne and Thorne, like, you've given up and I haven't. And coming back from that means having empathy and compassion again. And as corny as it is, love. I think it's no coincidence that this series kind of sounds like the ones who love. And it brings Rick back full circle. He started off as a loving man. Then he became more like the CRM, where he would kill innocents to protect the ones he cared about. And then he came back around to loving. There was a Nat voiceover in the beginning where he said,
I'll know how to... Oh, you go for it.
He said, I know how to build things and I know how to burn things, but it takes more than that at the end of the world. And that's sort of a slight against the CRM. And Thorne says, in a dead world, love is dead. Michonne says, love doesn't die, and then kills Thorne. But Beale said, we're the dead ones. You know, we're kind of like them, the zombies, which I feel like ties in with the name of the series, The Walking Dead. It's not just the zombies, it's the people who've given up on love. And Beale says, the sword that kills is the sword that gives life, but that's choosing who you want to say, but then killing everyone else, whether they're an overt threat or not. It's devaluing the lives of people that you don't personally know, and
denying the potential for other ways of thinking and being.
And there's a flashback when he said that to a lot of the dark things that Rick did, killing Thomas, the prisoner, with his machete to the top of the head, biting Joe's throat out. In my opinion, it would have been more apt to show Rick being aggressive towards innocents, like the Grady Hospital people, he wanted to go in and kill them, but he didn't, so they can't really show that. He shot at one Kingdom guy. He didn't even know who he
Orange
was.
Backpack.
Orange backpack, yes. Or even, it's debatable, but killing the saviors in their sleep without knowing if some of them were coerced to do what, which dark. They were. Yeah. It's too complicated to explain all that in a flashback, but those are the things that I felt were more like he's really lost himself. And when he said in this episode to Beale, I never lost my son, I lost myself. He brought me back. My wife brought me back. I think it was during the rewatch that we talked about Carl's final letter to Rick, but I think it's worth looking again. So if you don't remember, Carl was bitten and he wrote letters to people before he died. And for Rick, he wrote, I wanted to kill Negan. I wish I did. Maybe it would have been done. I don't think it's done now. You went out there again, but I don't think they surrendered. He's talking about the war with the saviors. I don't think they will surrender. There are workers in there, Dad, meaning saviors. They're just regular people, old people, young people, families. You don't want them to die, Dad. We're so close to starting everything over, and we have friends now. It's that bigger world you used to talk about, the kingdom, the hilltop. There's got to be more places, more people out there, a chance for everything to change and keep changing. Everyone giving everyone the opportunity to have a life, a real life. You have to find peace with Negan. You have to find a way forward somehow. We don't have to forget what happened, but you can make it so it doesn't happen again, and nobody has to live this way, that every life is worth something. Start everything over. Show everyone they can be safe again without killing, that it can feel safe again, that it can go back to being birthdays, schools, jobs, and even Friday night pizza somehow, and walks with a dad and a 3-year-old. I'm getting emotional. Holding hands. Make that comeback, Dad, and go on those walks with Judith. She'll remember them. I love you, Carl. So I just think that, I mean, this whole series, The Walking Dead, I've preached that it's important to have compassion and mercy and vulnerability in a smart way, but not to just become a ruthless, cold, untrusting, badass killer. And I feel like this episode is validating that viewpoint and even tying it into the whole theme of The Walking Dead. If you don't do this, you are The Walking Dead. If you forget about love, then you're The Walking Dead. And that's what Beale is preaching, killing innocents to protect your own life. But Rick still cares about people he doesn't yet know, about strangers. And I think that's one of his biggest strengths. And when he lost that, which he did, he was still my favorite character on the show, but only in the way that I like flawed characters. Like, I didn't approve of it, and I wouldn't have wanted to like be his friend if I was in that world. But now he's come back from that, and I admire him as a person again, as well as a character, you know? So that's why I feel like it's kind of full circle and really ties a lot of things into the
everything
series together. Yeah.
I had a point. I kind of want to talk about the ending, even though it's the best bit of the episode. And I was like, we'll talk about it.
Do it. Yeah. It doesn't matter to me.
It destroyed me.
Yeah.
Like seeing Rick's hand shaking. And then when we saw just a little bit of Judith, I'm like, they're not going to crap out and not show us actual Judith.
I thought the same thing.
No. And then
they had to pay Kaylee Fleming $10 million, I read, to do this.
Worth it. Pay her more.
I'm just kidding.
She's so great. I love her so much. Yeah. And she just knocked it out the park. I just loved the whole scene. I've written the best scene ever happens despite RJ being there, which is probably not fair on that poor little kid.
They used him well. There was a lot of stillness and
silence.
Yeah, but it was good. But
he would be shy. He would be. Yeah. I was thinking about the dynamics of that. You just be like,
they handled it so well. I thought
they did it so well, and like even the way, like there was something so natural about the way Michonne was talking to the kids, like "you got big" and "I'm sorry" and stuff like that, and the fact that they were both. Just the way Rick and Michonne both run towards them so desperately and urgently, but then Rick's hanging back and he doesn't know what to do and he's like fiddling with his buttons and the music is so good. And the kids looking grown up makes sense with the time difference, like the time that has passed.
It adds to the poignance of it.
Yeah, and Kaylee Fleming does look like Laurie. I think you can really buy that she is Laurie's daughter, just the way that, and I just thought like what Rick must feel in that moment looking at Judith, and
Yeah.
Everything.
Like, wow, you were a baby last time I saw you.
And like in the
Toddler.
rewatch, Judith is what, 8 weeks in utero or something. So it's really strange to think about all this time having passed since that and the things that happened
Mm-hmm.
with Laurie's pregnancy and with Judith and Laurie dying and things like that. I cried so much. Just seeing Judith look so happy running towards her parents killed me. I know I come off as like mean sometimes and like not emotionally in tune with stuff about families and things, but like, oh my God, I was gone. I cried for like half an hour.
I love that. I'm happy to hear.
I've watched the last 7 minutes 6 times and I will keep watching them. I might not watch the rest of the episode again, but I will watch those last 6 minutes because it was so good. It's like mind masturbation of like, this is great, this is so good. Don't say that, don't put that in because it's about kids and it's going to sound like I have bad feelings about children. That's not true. But it is scratching an itch.
No, I'm getting that you have great feelings about children.
Yeah.
You were touched.
But it is
by
like
this.
I'm very touched, yes.
Good.
It's everything I've wanted since Rick left the show, and I loved it. And anyone who didn't get joy from it can go away because it was
have
great.
A heart of stone.
Must have a heart of stone.
No, it's okay.
I could have again, bad Zed that I'm feeding. I could have lived without the "I believed" line. I thought maybe "you can call me dad" would have been a nice place to leave it, but you know,
must have been a callback because Scott Gimple always calls back.
Well, this whole show has been about like belief and choosing to believe rather than choosing to not believe. And
something a little kid might say.
It was so cute. It was so cute. Unless RJ in his little hat. Oh.
Yeah. Aww. See, I mean, I thought beat by beat it was done so well. Like you said, Rick's hand was shaking in the helicopter and Michonne holds it when they're looking at the drawing of Carl. And then Michonne hugs both the kids. And that made so much sense because she's their mom and they know her.
Mom, yeah.
They feel connected with her, especially RJ, because he's never even met Rick. But Judith did know him when she was a toddler. I don't know. Maybe she was like up to like 7 or 8. I forget.
No, she would have been 3 or 4.
Yeah, okay.
I think
that sounds right. Yeah. And still, you'd remember and you'd have some feelings there. It would be very, and she did clearly. And so then they connected after these two kids had a chance to just love on their mom for a minute. Then to have Judith and Rick connect was beautiful. And then RJ and Rick face each other. Oh, I can't even talk about this. And he says, "You're the brave man." And he goes, "I am," which I'm glad he said that instead of hemming and hawing about it. And then he tweaked RJ's hat, which just
like
evokes,
he used to do with Carl.
Yeah, just son and Carl, which is kind of sad. It reminds you he's not there, but also RJ smiled at it. You know, it was like a fatherly thing to do. And he said, "But maybe you can call me dad." And he said, "I knew you'd come back." How I believed. And then they hug and I lost it. And then they all hugged. And that, of course, reminds us of Rick and Laurie and Carl early on when he first found them. So it's happy and sad at the same time, which is very Walking Dead, but mostly happy.
I just kept saying all day, I was like, Peter, and he's like, what? I'm like, Judith got her family back. And he's like, okay. He's just like, why are you? And I'm just like, it's just really great. It's just really great.
That's awesome.
Oh, I was just like, guess what? And he's like, what? I'm like, Judith got her family back. And he's like, good Lord. Like, we're still talking about it.
He watched it with you, right?
He watched it. I mean, I was like, it was 7 a.m. He loved it. He was like, oh, that's really nice. We both have a soft spot for Judith because we used to babysit a kid who looked really like Judith, and she was a kick-ass girl. And yeah, we both got on really well with her. And yeah, she always reminds us of her. But I just think, Kaylee Fleming, man. I hope she has such a good career ahead of her because she's fantastic.
Me too. Yeah, it's good that she.
And I realized she and Andrew Lincoln have never shared the screen. And they managed to play that really convincingly. Just loved it.
I don't even know for sure if she's even met him before this. Because he didn't go to
because he wouldn't have done
conventions that much. Yeah, maybe. All right, I'm going to talk about what the echelon briefing ended up being. We kind of touched on it a little bit, but in the first episode of this series, they showed us reports that the people of Omaha were mysteriously killed and the CRM was investigating. And if you watched World Beyond, you knew that the CRM actually destroyed Omaha. And the scientists of the CRM, I guess scientists or statisticians or something, had predicted that the Omaha group would eventually fall to disease and famine, and that would spread. They were worried that would spread to the CRM and threaten their survival. So there's a celebration called Monument Day that commemorated the start of the zombie apocalypse. And so a lot of people would be outside and gathered together, and they chlorine gas them, in part to prolong the time before their reanimation so they could get more research specimens too. So it was double dark.
But the chlorine gas that they used here, everyone came back straight away.
Right. That's right. Plot hole. But given that part of the story of The Ones Who Live is about Rick potentially thinking he could do well with the CRM, like get them to change the things he didn't like so they could be a force for good. I thought the idea that the CRM actually killed 90,000 people and they're keeping that a secret in this series is a twist, and it was so weird. So,
well, I'm glad that we know that Rick didn't know that.
Yeah.
Right. There was a bit at the start where we were like, did he know? He didn't know. We were all pretty sure he didn't, but just in case.
Yeah. And I mean, my point in talking about this right now is that you and I decided not to talk about that in the main body of the podcast. We only had it at our echelon briefings at the end in case there were people who didn't watch World Beyond, and it felt like a spoiler to me. It felt like a plot twist that would be a spoiler if you hadn't watched World Beyond. So I am curious, now that it's all said and done and you're listening to me, if you didn't watch World Beyond, you didn't listen to our spoiler sections at the end, did that come off as a spoiler at all? I'm sure people might have suspected it anyway because it's the bad organization, maybe we shouldn't have bothered keeping it a secret,
I think we did the right thing. I think it's always better to give people the option to opt in or out.
But I want to hear from the listeners too, though, if you have an opinion.
No, I don't. I think I'm right. I'm joking,
just write to me separately.
I don't care to know.
I'm glad we did it that way, but I'm curious. I'm just curious what people say.
Yeah.
So then the whole time I was hoping when we did that we, for one, would get the echelon briefing. It wasn't a given that we would. That if and when we did, that we would learn not only about this Omaha thing, but some other crazy things that we didn't already know about from watching World Beyond. And we didn't really learn all that much more.
We really didn't.
So
I was just expecting just a little. Oh, no, hang on. There was one thing. He said that they had, I'm going to find the right words, they had embeds in communities.
Spies. Yeah.
And I'm like, that would be an interesting twist if somebody that we'd known the whole time, hashtag Enid, Lance. Well, Lance, actually, fuck me, I hadn't thought about that. Lance would have been a great embed.
It could have been. He could have been.
But he could have been, because he does threaten Pamela with, you have no idea the relationships.
Maybe he was an embed and the CRM scientists have figured out how to bring people back to life. And he'll be the first.